Yeah.
Yeah, you can start. Yeah.
How do I start?
You just press live.
And then,
Then it's already.
okay. Hello, and welcome to our monthly webinar. In this webinar, I wanted to kick off since it is January, and I know that a lot of times when we're looking at integrating new changes into our life, it might be a New Year's resolution, it might be just having a break from the holidays and getting back into the routine that you had established towards the end of the last year. Whatever the case is, a lot of times the best possible way to ensure that you are going to make those changes is to start to create new habits. So that's what we want to cover today. Fresh start, strong start, habit building for the new year. And this is something that we talk a lot about with our practice members because so much of what people endure in the aches and pains and symptoms that they come up with, especially in the form of biomechanical complaints, come from poor habits. If it's sitting too long and doing work at the computer, if it's phone use, if it's sleeping in positions that create tension and stiffness, if it's carrying a handbag on one side, a computer, laptop bag on the other side. These things, little things, built up over time, start to create muscular tension patterns in the body that manifest and can manifest as discomfort. Discomfort then creates more stiffness and tension. More stiffness and tension restricts mobility in those joints, which can lead to other symptoms. So, not only can this fresh start, strong start, habit building for the new year be related to wanting to see these positive objective changes like making more money, losing weight, making more friends, whatever the case is, it can also have something to do with the things that you're feeling physically in your body. If it is discomfort, low back pain, neck pain, stiffness and tension in joints, if it's in the shoulders, if it's in the hip joints, you can start to identify these little things that you want to change and create a habit around that. So, all habit formation happens in the same way. First and foremost, we have to identify something that we want to change. And we want to get into how to successfully integrate new habits so that they can become permanent. A habit is something that you do unconsciously. Like at the end of the day, when you feel like the day you're getting ready for bed and you remember, oh geez, I haven't done something, and you remember you had forgot to brush your teeth. Like it's when not doing that particular habit feels kind of strange. So at first, a habit is extremely difficult to implement because it's something new. So there are steps that you can do that will ensure you to create these new habits, but it does take work in the beginning. All of the stuff that I'm going to cover is documented by a researcher that I'll go over the resources at the end of the webinar so you have an idea on where to access this information as well. So I do want to go ahead and get right into it by first and foremost saying that when you are creating a new habit, the most important factor first and foremost is motivation. A lot of times people say, well, I don't have the motivation. It's difficult to stay motivated. And the reality is that motivation is something that comes and goes. It can be influenced by emotion, it can be influenced by fatigue, it can be influenced by hunger even. If you're hungry, it's going to be more difficult for you to stay focused on what or motivated to do whatever it is that you want to do. So first and foremost, in regards to mobility or motivation, we have to figure out how to stay motivated. In order for us to stay motivated, view, motivated, any new habit must be attached to an outcome that you really want to happen. One technical component, hold on for me here. Thank you. My IT guy just hopped in and helped me out there. Thank you, Sam. So with motivation, any new habit must be attached to an outcome that you really want to happen. And it can't be like this, uh, like you're feeling envy or you really want this because you see that other people are happy to do this. It really has to be something that you feel that you want to happen. So the deeper the motivation, the stronger it's going to be for the habit, easier for you to instill a new habit. And so picking something, a habit that you want, is easier if you can identify potentially what your future may look like when this new habit is achieved. And this is another important factor about motivation and the habit being attached to an outcome that you really want. Oftentimes we attach ourselves to this outcome based on the value. Let's say if it's you want to lose weight, you say, I want to lose 30 pounds. Okay, that is a very objective end point. And you can say, once I get there, I've achieved my goal. But in addition to identifying with the outcome, you have to start to relate yourself to the identity of a person that has already achieved that outcome. So what would a person do that has lost a certain amount of desirable weight? Or if it's about getting into the gym or getting more sleep, or trying to make more money or create better relationships, trying to not only identify with the outcome, but to think of yourself as a person who has already achieved that outcome. So identifying with the new identity of that person that will help to seed the habit that you're working towards. So you must be attached to the outcome and the identity of the person that you really want to happen. So it's got to be something big. It can't just be like, oh, I want to lose 20 pounds because of whatever. You think you're going to look better or whatever. It has to be attached to the end outcome being related to a deeper, stronger emotional connection to why you want to achieve that. If you want to get healthier, maybe it's because you want to be able to spend more time playing with your kids without any pain. You want to be there for your parents as they age so you can take care of them as they gracefully age. Different things that it's going to be very different for each person, but the importance of this is to really sit with this and think about why you want this to happen, why you want this outcome, and how you might identify as a person as this outcome becomes closer. So this is where the work begins, putting in and being honest with yourself about what it is that you want to work towards. Because as you start to identify that, then we really get into the nitty-gritty of developing habits. And all of these things I'm going to talk about have been tested. They've been looked at in different sample sizes with people actually implementing these strategies. The first one, and most of these, I'm going to be honest, they seem quite simple, almost too easy. Like this is all it takes in order to implement new habits. And yes, they seem simple, but the more simple that it is, the easier it is to integrate into your day-to-day. And that's the most important factor. It has to be something that you can see, imagine yourself doing, and then executing it. So motivation is one component, but then discipline is where that the habit integration really takes place. You can't have habit change without discipline. And discipline comes from a level of commitment to yourself, of sticking to that habit or that new identity that you want to work towards. So the first thing is to look at habit reflection. Look back at a time where you successfully created a new habit and trying to think about what worked for you in that time. So something that I like to think about is when it's hard to imagine a time where you've integrated a new habit, but most often it's because of a necessity. Let's say when you get a new job and you have a new call time, let's say you used to go to work at 9 o'clock, but the new job requires you to get in at 8 a.m. So you're going to have to start new habits of waking up earlier in order to get to work on time. So oftentimes our habits are influenced by these external forces that require us to either be at work or get our kids to school or whatever the case is. There's the external accountability factors. And that's why starting self initiated habits is more difficult because you're the one who's going to have to hold yourself accountable. But if it is something in your habit reflection that you think, okay, well, the only time that I've really been able to create a new habit is because of these external factors, that's great. You know that you've been able to do it in the past. So definitely give yourself some credit and say, yeah, I started this new job. I had to go through this learning protocol to bring myself up on standard operating procedures. I had to get to work earlier. I had to do all this stuff. You changed your whole life in order to create new habits which would allow you to succeed at that job. So just like that, we can start to then attach the new habit to what worked in the past. If it is setting your alarm clock a little bit earlier, you know that that's going to give you a little bit more time, then that time can be allocated towards starting to take small step towards your habit. So habit reflection is just thinking back into time, thinking the things that have worked, if it's been sport related or monetary related, relationship related, really stretch yourself to think about what you have done. I know for myself, one of the times that had the most dramatic change in my habits was having kids. My kids, when they were little, they didn't care how much sleep I had or how motivated I was. I had to be on point when they needed me, and that started to create these new habits about how I responded to their needs. And then as they started to get a little bit older, that time that I had dedicated towards prioritizing their needs, as they started to become more self-sufficient, I had a little bit more time that I could then prioritize my own needs. And that's when I started to work out a little bit more and these things like that. So it really does take some time. This habit reflection is a very important process to give yourself some credit, first and foremost, for creating positive habits in the past. And secondly, start to give yourself an idea about how you might start to implement these habits. And that leads us into the next step, which actually might be part of this habit reflection when we look at triggers. Now, when we think of triggers, oftentimes it's linked to negative triggers. Well, I've been triggered into this emotional response, or I'm triggered into this anxious or stress response. But what I'm looking for is look for those triggers that have been present in those times of your habit reflection. Who are the people that were surrounded? Was it the work environment where you had positive reinforcement from work colleagues, maybe a coworker or your superiors or somebody that you were accountable to? Were these people part of the triggers that helped you to create these new habits? What are the specific activities that remind you of your new habit? So it could be something to where every time you're walking stairs, you feel a little winded, and that is a trigger for you that you got to get into better shape. So that then could be literally part of the trigger, a positive trigger, an activity that triggers this positive feedback loop about creating more positive exercise habits, taking stairs as often as you can. What is your bearing? Your external environment, what's going on the outside? A lot of times, like I had said previously, is that it's these external environment, the external stimulus that acts as these external motivating factors to keep you, that will help you to create these new habits. So it's good just to recognize it's the environment around you. It might be your kid's schedule, your significant other's schedule, your work schedule, your work environment. If you go to a place that has a gym, I oftentimes use exercise and gym or getting fit as a as a potential positive habit change, because so often people tell me, like, they're sitting in our clinic for a consultation and they talk about, I really know that I have to move more. So I'm just kind of defaulting to something that I hear quite often. It might not ring true for you or resonate on something that you want to identify as a new potential habit, but just fit in whatever it might be for you at that time. So start to think about those external factors that influence you and how you then might utilize those. If it's you have a gym right next to you, like literally right across the street from me is where my gym is. I would walk by it on my lunch break. I walk by it to and from my way to work. So that's the gym that I chose. It's right there. It makes it easy. Internal state. How are you feeling when you feel this motivating factor? Do you feel guilt or shame about the way you are? Do you feel positive about the potential outcome? And what helps you to build up that internal activation energy to do that activity? If you're one who is more easily motivated by moving away from bad stuff, then be okay with that. It's like, oh, I don't like the way that I feel or the way that I look. Use that as a trigger for motivating your new habit. If you're drawn more towards a positive outcome, like, oh, I really want to be able to, you know, go on holiday and go for a hike and feel invigorated instead of winded or tired, then use that internal state of being drawn towards goodness as a trigger towards integrating your new habit. And then timing. Timing of the day. What time can act as the best reminder for you? For myself, it's the easiest to implement a new habit first thing in the morning because I know I can get it out of the way. My alarm is set. I go out of the house. I drink my 500 mLs of water, whatever it is. I start my coffee. And if I really want to make a habitual change, I make myself a sticky note. And that's actually one of the things we're going to get to, that you can start to influence your environment to act as these triggers towards positive change. So if you look towards the left, obviously this is an acronym. It's easy to remember these. What are the triggers? Who are the humans that you surround yourself? The activity that you can do, your bearing of your external environment, your internal state, how are you feeling about it, and then timing. All 5 of these categories can act as positive triggers or reminders to you that can help to integrate a new habit. Now the thing with all of these is it has to be something that makes sense to you. If you're thinking, well, there's no human that reminds me or helps me, then don't use that one. If it's so far out of left field that there's no way that it can make sense, don't try and force yourself into it. Go to the one that you are drawn to, where it's like, oh yeah, bearing my external environment. Every time I see my running shoes, I have this emotional response. Whatever it is, you have a response. If it's, I really want to, you're motivated to run, or you hate running, whatever it is, figure out how you can leverage that relationship with whatever the trigger is to start a new habit. So one thing that is helpful, and I already alluded to this a little bit earlier, is step 3 is to start to make these sticky notes. You can take these triggers and identify them and start to influence triggers in a positive way by taking these little sticky notes. If you know that the morning time is when you start to feel a little bit more motivated, or at lunchtime you've motivated, put sticky notes that you will see during those times of day. If it is your external environment, like I said, had alluded to earlier, running shoes, or in the car, whatever the case is, put sticky notes all over that give you that will bring to your conscious awareness whatever it is this habit is that you're trying to implement. Sticky notes, simple way to act as a constant reminder. We need to take out of what you want, something that is being drawn towards a future that you want, or getting away from a past that you want, and want to bring that into your awareness, into the forefront of your day-to-day, so that you can start to create this relationship of this new identity that has you succeeding at the habit, with seeing the habit through. So write sticky notes. It may seem, again, too simple, but all we're trying to do is create a mental awareness that links you back to the identity of the person who has achieved the goal from the habit that you want to achieve. Next thing about working towards habits and making change is to first and foremost, I mean, this is step 4, but you've already done a bunch of work. You've done the habit reflection, you've looked at your triggers, you've started to make sticky notes. Now, the best way to make a habit something that you do, or compliance, it's self-compliance. If you make the habit and then you're doing it, you're complying with your own self, is to make the habit as easy as possible. Make a mini version of the habit so that no matter what happens or how much time you have, there is zero excuse for you to do it. I'm going to go back to the exercise that I had talked about. Now, if, for example, your goal is to get into the gym on a daily basis, January 1st comes, you sign up for that gym membership, but you haven't been to the gym in 10 years. it's going to be very difficult for you to adhere to that habit. First and foremost, because you have become a person who doesn't go to the gym. There's nothing wrong with that, but your habits have led to you to be a person who doesn't go to the gym. So to drastically change your environment in such a way, it almost sets you up for failure. You miss one day and you're like, oh shoot, I missed this day. I'm not a person who goes to the gym. This is just how I am. So what we have to do is start with these broken down, chunked down uh, goal habits to make it easy for you to say yes to it. So if it's exercise, and if your goal is to get into the gym every day, break it down to something you can do. Do 10 push ups. You make a sticky note. When you get up, you have your coffee, whatever the case is, you see your sticky note wherever you put it, on your phone. As soon as you see that sticky note, you do 10 push ups. Now, 10 push ups is a far cry from doing a 1 hour gym session every single day, but you're setting up momentum within yourself, knowing that this accountability, you can hold yourself accountable. And then the more you do it, you start to gain confidence in your ability at being consistent with whatever that habit is. So make it easy. Make it as easy as you have to. And there's nobody is judging you on this. If it's something about you want to um, write, write more. If you want to be more creative, literally like writing a sentence. As soon as you see whatever your trigger or sticky note is, write a sentence out. It doesn't have to be write 500 words every single day, because as soon as you miss one of those days, it's going to create this emotional relationship to you failing. So do yourself a favor, make it easy, do the small habit as much as you need until you get a day where you can do the bigger version, whatever that habit is. And if the next day you fall back into that small habit, that's okay. You're riding the momentum. Momentum is something that it's like rolling a large rock. Very difficult to start that going, but once you get that momentum, it really starts to gather speed. So make it easy, make it something that you know you can do, and then continue with that regardless of how long it is. And the next thing is that all of this has been more of this kind of internal, introspective, personal self work. It requires you to look at previous habits, look at your triggers, create some sticky notes around where you can continuously remind yourself what this habit is, make the habit easy. The next step, it starts to get external, where you're telling a friend. And the minute you tell a friend, the minute that you express this to somebody that you care about, you are not only telling somebody else so they can help to hold you accountable, but it's a declaration of your intention to hold yourself accountable. And as soon as you do that, there is a change. You will have more responsibility that you've given to yourself to follow through with whatever the habit is. And you can tell yourself, you tell your friend whatever you want to tell them. If you're like, hey, I have this daily habit that I want to do and it's related to this, or you can tell them about the end result, or you can tell them about the person, the identity that you see that you want help to working towards achieving. But you want to pick somebody who, first and foremost, you know that cares about you. Obviously, they want to see you succeed. It's best not to sell somebody that you have this competitive nature with, or whatever the case is. Tell somebody who can be forgiving and help to coach you along in those times that you might not adhere 100% to whatever it is that you're working towards. So tell a person that you can trust to help with accountability in establishing your new habit. If it's a friend, a coworker, a family member, your kids, your parents, whatever the case is, there is a lot that can be said about outwardly expressing to somebody your intention for making change in your life. And the more you do this, the more you build up these steps. These are time-tested steps that will ensure that it's taking this theoretical idea of what you want to work towards and giving you practical steps to implement a new habit. And throughout this whole process, no matter where you are, if you're just starting out or you're 6 months into this journey, it is important to go easy on yourself. Give yourself a break. We're looking at it as a marathon, not a sprint. I always talk about in the form of fitness-related goals. we generally overestimate what we can get done in a short time, and we grossly underestimate what we can get done in a long period of time. So take your goals and extrapolate them, add another 6 months or even a year. If you want to lose weight in a month, look at losing weight in 6 months. Give yourself an opportunity to gather momentum with this, because the more sustainable these changes are, the longer lasting those results are going to be. And the better chance that you are going to have at changing into that person, that identity that then brings you the end result that you want. It doesn't happen overnight. You can, in your head, make a change in your thoughts immediately, overnight. I'm a new person tomorrow. But it takes time for those changes to manifest in reality. If you want to get stronger at the gym, it takes time for you to put in that work. If you want to have a change with your work or your personal relationships, those things do take an investment of time. Again, the change can happen immediately inside of you. You decided it is done, I'm committed to doing this. But give yourself a break on if the changes of your reality don't happen immediately and you need some time to see those catch up to that end related goal. Go easy on yourself. If you miss a day, it's okay. Get right back in it. Don't sabotage the new habit, and you can start again that next day. Just get right back to it. But if you miss, even, we're looking at majority of the days. If you miss 1-2 days, get right back to it as soon as you can. Start with that mini habit and get back into building that momentum up. So that's it. It's definitely something to where, again, like I said, so much about habit creation comes from the simple act of reflecting in and identifying with something that you really want to achieve. And it can't just be like, oh, I want more money. For what reason? What do you want more money? Do you desire freedom? Do you desire the security of what that has? Do you want to provide for your children? Do you want to provide for your parents? Attach that outcome, the objective outcome, to something that is truly meaningful to you. And the more meaningful that the attachment is, the more likely that you will be able to implement these new habits that are going to get you to that end destination. Everything that I talked about comes from a researcher. He's actually a mathematician by education and got into statistics, studying a lot of how we look at habit creation. His name is Spencer Greenberg. You can go to clearthinking.org. They have fabulous tools and resources on their website which help to build in a process that allows you to develop habits in an easier way. You can go through and do a value structure, a questionnaire that will help you to lead to some type of outcome that is going to be beneficial for you. And again, it's about finding those things that are meaningful to you to keep that motivating factor up high. Motivation comes and goes, it blows in the wind. You have a bad night's sleep, you're unmotivated. But discipline carries you through. So identifying first and foremost with something that is going to mean a lot to you, then implementing those standard operating procedures, which then drive you to that end goal, that all can be figured out at clearthinking.org. Check it out. I was extremely motivated when I heard Spencer Greenberg talk on a podcast. He's been very helpful for my own personal life in integrating new habits, and also the way that I communicate with people about this. It's not rocket science, but there is not a magic pill and a one-off only thing that you have to do. It does require a little bit of work, but I guarantee you, if you do some work on the front end, it sets you up for better results towards the other end. So I appreciate you checking in on your lunchtime here for our monthly webinar. We're very happy to provide these webinars for our practice members who are coming to get adjusted on a regular basis, but also to people in the public who'd like to tune in and find out more about what we do in our clinic, not only with chiropractic, but implementing positive, healthy lifestyle choices, which will not only help to take care of the things that you're dealing with now, but ensure a more positive, healthy future for you down the road. So again, thank you for checking in, and we look forward to either seeing you at our next in-house workshop or on our next monthly webinar. Appreciate your time today. Have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.